Hey y'all, I just beat the main campaign for Destiny 2 Renegades, and here's what I think about it. Quick note about spoilers, I will be pretty loose with spoilers during this video. I won't be revealing everything, but I will talk about the entire main plot, including the final mission. If you care about spoilers, maybe skip this video until after you beat the campaign. In my opinion though, I don't think there's anything in this whole campaign that would ruin your experience if you knew it was coming. I've been playing Destiny since about 2015, right before Rise of Iron came out. Destiny was the game that my friends and I played all throughout middle and high school. During COVID, Destiny was the game that we all played, all day, every day. I even continued to play in college with my best friend / roommate, getting all the dungeon and some raid exotics. I say all this because I used to love Destiny. It was my favorite game, and that's why I have 2,000 hours on it across all platforms. Until that all changed. See, after the final shape, which is my favorite Destiny DLC by the way, Bungie announced episodes and then changes to yearly content after that. I assume that this was because of Destiny 3, where they were putting the game in a sort of maintenance mode while they work on that. Unfortunately, that did not seem to be the case, as nobody at Bungie thought it would be a good idea to make a third game. Oh well. When Edge of Fate came out, I looked at it as the new normal for Destiny, and naively, I liked it. Edge of Fate is certainly not the best DLC, but I don't think it's the worst either. It's got the longest campaign at like 14 missions, it's got a fine new planet for the DLC to take place on, some decent, if not flawed, new ideas like the puzzle and mission design, and best of all, a pretty decent story. Sure, there wasn't really much endgame to it, but I figured that was just because of all the big changes they made with the portal. If this was the type of DLC Bungie could make while spending all their time on the portal, what could they do without it? Well, with Renegades, we now have the answer to that question. Apparently, even less. Now look, I know that this too was developed alongside the portal and all the big changes they needed to make to the portal, but like this DLC is just not good, or even as good as Edge of Fate. But that's the thing about this DLC. It's clear to me that Bungie is not only trying to fix criticisms people had with Edge of Fate, but also try to make something new at the same time. Unfortunately, at least here, it just doesn't work. The entire thing that saved Edge of Fate for me was the story. Destiny has never really had good storytelling or writing. I can count the amount of good Destiny stories on one hand, and fortunately, Edge of Fate would probably be one of them. It's not perfect by any means, especially at first, but by the end, it seemingly does a good job at setting up a new saga. Lodi was set up as new emissary, 3 was revealed to be dead, and both Ikora and Lodi were being manipulated by the 9 to end up on Kepler together. Pair that with some really strong cutscenes, and you got a strong story by Destiny standards. I was initially pretty worried about how this campaign would continue that story, especially when it's billed as a quote, important part of this new saga. After I completed Renegades, I can say that I honestly don't agree. While this DLC does potentially set up future important characters, I don't think it actually does a good job at continuing the story of the 9. See, the 9 are very much present in this DLC, but unlike Edge of Fate, they are not the main focus. The two main impacts the 9 have on this story are, they reveal a vision to the Drifter, which acts as his main motivation for the entire campaign, as well as 6 is revealed to be controlling Bale in order to destroy the last city. Drifter's vision is seemingly useless for the overall plot. The 9 tells him that unless he does something, everyone he loves will die. The 9 always talk in riddles, so I'm not exactly sure what they mean, nor do the characters in the game. Bale, on the other hand, is seemingly the entire reason this DLC exists and connects to the plot. Over the course of the campaign, Bale learns that he is being manipulated by Six to build a super weapon and then unleash it on the last city. Bale is honestly not really the main villain of the story. More so, he's portrayed as a victim of the Nine and their actions, and slowly learns the truth of how he was taken advantage of. That's the thing though, because at the end of the campaign, I don't think he fully got away from the Nine. He kind of just goes like, I'll be back, and he's not heard from again. While Bale and his role in the larger story remains to be seen, assuming that he is a key part of the narrative, I still don't understand why this story was told. Like, he is by no means the main focus of the story like Lodi was in Edge of Fate, more so really just being a side plot. I think Bale's story throughout the campaign reflects a greater problem with this DLC. The writing is just not good. Edge of Fate had surprisingly good writing, especially for Destiny. However, this campaign just regresses so much in that area. The dialogue is fine for the most part, although I do think some of the new characters, specifically Anor, are written a bit generically. The big problem with this campaign is just that absolutely nothing is explained. What does the Drifter's vision mean? Why did he assemble this team? What the hell is Dredge and Hope? Why is the Drifter old now? I get that the Nine are not explained, and although I think the game expects you to have a greater understanding of them than we currently do, I think they work for the most part for now. They are just mysterious figures for now, and that's okay. But with everything else, this unexplaining routine just does not work. Like, the campaign literally does not set anything up and kind of just starts. None of my previous questions are ever answered, and you're just supposed to just go along with it. New characters are just placed into this campaign as well, with little introduction such as Nor. It's hard to invest in the Drifter's story specifically as well, because I'm just so confused what's going on with him and why he's doing what he's doing. This story just does not have the budget or runtime to work properly, and it really hurts the campaign. Nothing gets the time it truly needs to develop, and thus everything is left underexplained. How can a 12 mission, 7.5 hour DLC fully cover the Drifter's arc, Bale's arc, the Imperium, the Nightfall weapon, the Lawless Frontier, the Nine, and the Vanguard reacting to the fall of the Witness? It can't. And so many of these topics are just pushed aside for hours. This campaign needed to pick just one or two things, like how Edge of Fate focused solely on Lodi, Ikora, and their relationship to the Nine. If this story is so important to the overall Fate saga, why is nothing giving time to be properly explained? So clearly this is not a story that needed to be told, more so an additional story that could be told to set up future stories. It's clear to me that Bungie needed an excuse to fit their Star Wars expansion into this current story, and honestly, I don't think they succeed whatsoever. As per usual with this DLC, none of this Star Wars stuff is set up whatsoever and is instead just placed in this DLC, clashing with the entire tone of the game thus far. There is absolutely no reason why Kylo Ren and Darth Vader should show up in the first cutscene, or why there is suddenly a Jedi Praxis Warlock Order. How has the Cabal formed what is essentially the Empire with their own Darth Vader and gotten powerful enough to build basically the Death Star and not be mentioned even once? And like, the worst part is the game treats this as if it's all perfectly normal. Nobody is surprised, nor is it even mentioned how these guys are new. The game treats them like they've been here the whole time. I guess people just have lightsabers now too, huh? The actual basic plot of this DLC is that you need to steal the Death Star plans called the Nightfall here, and then go blow it up. Just like episode 4. I'm not against having Kylo Ren, Death Stars, or lightsabers in Destiny, but I'm just so appalled at how this was called an essential part of the Fate saga. It's not at all. This is literally just Destiny recreating Star Wars Episode 4, which is cool and all for sure, but it has nothing to do with the 9. The fact that they just tried to insert the 9 in there just a little, just to like check a box, is insulting to me. I wish that Destiny would have instead incorporated Star Wars visuals and themes rather than just adapt Episode 4. And that's the thing. They actually do sometimes do a good job at doing that. Take the Imperium ships, for example, which do a great job at combining Destiny visuals with standard Empire starship designs. Or take the Lawless Frontier, which is not only properly set up, but it also makes sense in the current Destiny universe. The darkness overtook Mars and Venus, so naturally a lawless land emerged from it. Elements like these, when properly explained, make me much more accepting of these elements, and thus when I see a Sarlacc pit or a trash compactor, I don't think twice about it. I just wonder what all the lore ramifications of this DLC could be. The Imperium or Praxis Order were not set up or explained, yet they are clearly big elements and are set up to continue to be. Cabal Darth Vader gets away at the end, so does that mean this clear Empire ripoff will be infecting other DLCs? Will the 9 be defeated by a Praxis Warlock and a lightsaber? These are the questions that need to be asked here when you try and forcefully insert ripoffs of other IP into your main story. The Lawless Frontier probably doesn't need to be mentioned again. Bail, Praxis Warlocks, and the Imperium certainly do, and that could be a problem for the tone and immersion of future campaigns. So nothing in the story is explained or set up well, and the Star Wars stuff was clearly forcefully inserted and labeled as essential for a cash grabby collab. Both of those things come together to make one of the worst main plots for a Destiny DLC to date. The main plot is really just derivative of the original Star Wars movies, and nothing is explained well. So most of the campaign is just go here and do this. Is the campaign fun at least to make up for the bad story? Well, unfortunately, in my opinion, no. In fact, it's even worse. This has got to be one of the laziest Destiny campaigns to date. The entire time I was playing this, I honest to God felt like I was playing a seasonal storyline or something, because it's set up in the exact same way. You get a large multi-step quest line where about 50% of the steps are go here and talk to X, or pick up a recording of Y and listen to it. Even worse, however, the game makes you go play the seasonal activity multiple times, to the point where 6 of the 12 main missions are literally just playing the seasonal activity. It's clear to me that the writers didn't have the time or budget to fill the story, so they came up with the flimsiest reasons to make you do these stupid seasonal activities. Go get some uniforms for the Vex because they like clothes now, or go help the spider because we need to fix this random ghost for no reason. I'm not joking when I say that every single one of these activity missions could be cut, and the story would not change one bit. What's even worse, however, is that these missions aren't even fun. The objectives that you do in this activity are genuinely some of the most basic and boring ones I've seen in a long time. Kill a target, kill 3 waves of enemies, stand on a point, dunk energy into a console. It's like so basic and boring, and it's the exact same throughout the entire campaign. I could not imagine grinding this mode, because not only does it seemingly not give out much loot, but also it's incredibly repetitive. They seemingly tried to recreate what works so well about the Nether, and turn it into a permanent mode. This mode features no health regen, but I don't think that it works as well here as it did in the Nether. Why that worked there was because the Nether was all about exploring. You could not only go at your own pace, but choose which activities you wanted to do, as well as stop when you wanted to, and the loot would reflect all of those choices. The ability to explore and go at your own pace incentivized the player to search for ways to regain health on the map. The player could also create builds using perks as well as unlockable upgrades, which added onto the Nether's replayability. By being completely linear, the Lawless Frontier's no health regen doesn't have that same incentive, and it doesn't even need it. The enemy density in these is insane, and each enemy will probably drop health, meaning you don't ever really need to search for health. And if you do, the game gives you an absolutely broken ability that will just get you back to max health and even max super. I don't think the Lawless Frontiers are bad. They also have unlockable and upgradable perks, which does add to replayability. I do think the objectives are extremely boring, but some may not mind that and see it as fast ways to get good loot. I also think the Lawless Frontiers do a great job at recreating iconic planets from Star Wars. They feel like fantastic homages to those iconic places, while also still feeling grounded in the Destiny universe. For a replacement of the Nether, I don't think this holds a candle to it though. The linear design is much worse, and honestly, the environments are a lot more boring than the Dreadnought. But as a seasonal activity, it's much better than what we had with Edge of Fate. My problem arises when this mode is not only used to make the campaign longer, but also infect the campaign itself. See, of the 6 actual campaign missions, 3 of them are essentially just fancier versions of the Lawless Frontiers. In these missions, you still do not get health regen, you still can use your Renegade powers, and you still do the same boring objectives. They do try to add on to them, however, being able to drive an AT-AT or fire cool strand weapons, but they are essentially just doing the same thing as before. So really, 9 out of the 12 campaign missions are just doing the seasonal activity, and that just gets so extremely boring and repetitive after a while, especially when the story and writing is bad. One of the main 6 story missions is called Fire and Ice. This is the mission where you get the Praxis Blade lightsaber, and it also happens to be this DLC's exotic quest. This was the biggest reason as to why I said this campaign felt like a seasonal quest. Not only are most of the quest steps talking or doing the seasonal activity, but also the exotic mission is included as a main quest step, acting as the big story mission for the season. This is literally the exact same format as the episodes/seasons, so no wonder it feels so much like one. I think that's the real big downfall of this DLC. It doesn't feel like one. It feels like a season, and I usually tend to skip those. The gameplay is not engaging enough for me to want to play it, and the story seems inconsequential at best. If the future of Destiny 2 is just 2 seasons a year spruced up to be expansions, then I think the game will die and I will stop playing. If only Bungie had learned this lesson before. Oh wait, they did. Twice. They did this with Destiny 1 with The Dark Below and House of Wolves. They also did it with Destiny 2 with Curse of Osiris and Warmind. While this campaign may be longer than all 4 of those, it doesn't feel much more impactful. I just honestly felt insulted while playing this because I was tricked into paying $40 for a bog standard Destiny seasonal quest that had a Star Wars coat of paint. Fire and Ice is absolute cinema, as one tweet I saw put it, and that seems to be a popular opinion. People seem to really like this mission, but honestly, I can't really say why. For starters, this mission is absolutely inconsequential to the story, like even more so than usual with this DLC. It's really just so you can get your lightsaber, and like, yeah, it's cool, but I think it would have helped with pacing and flow if you placed it after the campaign. For mission design, however, I will say that I do think this is the most ambitious mission in the entire campaign. However, that doesn't mean I think it's anything memorable. See, this mission is not nearly the best exotic mission, although I do think it improves on the ones that we've had as of late. This mission tries to bring back the old exotic mission design by starting with an entirely platforming section. I was honestly pretty annoyed and lost during this section, And because it's not on a timer, I don't think it really adds much to the mission. It's just a section that will take forever on repeat playthroughs. I think people like it though because they miss the grand feeling that they used to get when playing something like Whisper or Zero Hour. And this mission does achieve in recreating that. The jumping puzzle is hard, not only with not falling off, but figuring out where to go. It all looks great too, with the best visuals in probably the entire DLC. After the jumping puzzle, you get to the mechanic and combat portion, and I do think I like this part way more. The mechanic is nothing crazy, just throwing orbs into bigger orbs, but I think the light and dark idea is pretty cool, and I'd like to see it expanded upon even if it basically is just the mechanic from Prophecy. I will say, however, I wish that this mission had included more mechanic portions. It only has 2 rooms where this mechanic is used, the one where you learn it and a simplified version during the boss fight. With how little the mechanic is used, I can't imagine it being very engaging on repeat playthroughs. The boss fight as well was pretty annoying with an immune period and a boss that shreds you pretty quick on Legendary. However, it wasn't a no respawn zone, so what do I care? Overall, not the best exotic mission ever, and I'm sad it was included as part of the campaign, but it's definitely not terrible by any means. The first and last of the main 6 missions take place both on the Imperium ships and serve more as traditional missions. These missions are honestly just fine. They don't stand up with missions from Witch Queen or Final Shape by any means. What I like so much about missions from those campaigns is that they included unique mechanics for each mission. However, this DLC does not. The first mission especially is just extremely boring, running and gunning, and then a pretty terrible ending where you gotta escort Drifter out of the ship. The final mission is even shorter than the first, and it too is just fine. It has the standard final boss, but then a pretty cool recreation of the trench run from the end of episode 4. That was the moment where I realized this campaign isn't the worst Destiny campaign. Sure, it is extremely lazy by DLC standards, but they clearly did try here. The first mission's trash compactor sequence, the trench run in the final mission, and even the entire Lawless Frontier proved to me that Bungie did at least put some effort into this campaign. I played the entire campaign on Legendary difficulty, and I gotta say, this is the easiest Legendary campaign to date. I was a little worried that I would have trouble here because I literally do not have any tiered weapons or armor. But thankfully, the campaign gave me a free tier 5 kinetic and I was on my way. Only 6 of the 12 missions can be played on Legendary, and only one of those has more than one no respawn zone in it. Even with the high enemy density, these missions are extremely easy because you can just respawn as much as you want or abuse the overpowered healing Renegade power. This DLC also kinda lacks bosses for some reason, only including 3 traditional ones, and the rest being just a few AT-ATs. Even the final boss was like pretty easy, and I beat it on my first few tries despite it being kinda BS with having to shoot the power nodes with the big Cabal boss being right next to you. I'm not gonna say it's a bad thing that this campaign was so easy, especially because I'm glad it wasn't a pain to get my exotic at the end. But like, I just feel like it doesn't feel like the Legendary campaigns before it. The Edge of Fate Legendary campaign was a bit easy too, but that final boss really stepped it up a notch and made you work for your reward at the end. My boyfriend and I were stuck for over an hour trying to beat the Witness on Legendary. I was stuck on Callus for a similar amount of time in the Lightfall Legendary campaign. Hell, Witch Queen's Legendary campaign was so hard that I had to quit and come back later. I think that honestly, the next Legendary campaign should be harder and the exotic reward should be moved to the base difficulty. This already feels like the base difficulty anyways, so why not make it an actual really hard campaign for those who are dedicated and make it optional by not locking an exotic behind it? Like flawless rewards before it, making an actual hard legendary campaign would improve replayability and gave those seeking a challenge something to do. That all being said, honestly, I'm perfectly fine with it being easy. So yeah, this campaign is just a huge mess. The story is just not well written and doesn't explain anything well. The Star Wars stuff can be cool at times, but was also clearly forcefully included in some areas. The missions in this campaign also mostly suck, with most of them being just the seasonal activity. This is by far a downgrade from Edge of Fate. While this may improve on that DLC's poor pacing, it still is just as boring, and doesn't have a cool environment or story to make up for it. The thing is though, this DLC seemingly makes up for it in other ways. Like I said before, Bungie is experimenting with incorporating Star Wars stuff and having mixed results, I'd say. But they're also learning from Edge of Fate. Edge of Fate didn't really have a seasonal activity, nor any real endgame besides one exotic quest. This DLC not only has an exotic quest post-game, but also an entire questline for the Lawless Frontier. While I didn't love the Lawless Frontier, I can't deny that it's better than just grinding the portal, especially with all the upgrades you can unlock and seemingly long post-game quests. Depending on how much loot it gives out, I think the reactions to it are going to be pretty positive. Like I said before, the locations look nice, but also it has the highest enemy density of anything in the game, making it fun for all 3 players. The activities suck for sure, but maybe as the quests go on, you unlock more cool and engaging activities. And besides, they are really short anyways, so I doubt people will mind much. The Praxis Blade quest seems good too, giving people different colors to grind for, but also different perks and catalysts to unlock. I actually really like the Praxis Blade and think it's extremely fun to use. It seems actually pretty good at ad clear, as well as DPS on yellow bars. Depending on how much you can build it out, I think I could see people running it frequently. Same goes for all the new heat weapons, which are another great implementation of a Star Wars idea in Destiny. I got a heat submachine gun in the first mission and used it throughout my entire playthrough. I love the heat weapons, and I think they could be another new interesting thing to make builds around. So yeah, the endgame here is clearly much better than Edge of Fate, and that's why I think people are gonna like this DLC a lot more. People finally have a reason to engage with Destiny again, in order to get the new heat weapons, or the new Praxis Blade, or even rank up all the factions or whatever. Add on top of that the new dungeon dropping soon, and maybe any other secrets we don't know about yet, and I think we got a winner here in the eyes of the player base. Because honestly, that's what Destiny players want, more Destiny. They don't care much about the campaign, they just want stuff to do. And I think that this DLC delivered on fixing that problem from Edge of Fate. And while I'm also glad that there's more stuff to do, unfortunately for me, that's not entirely enough. Before I wrap this up, I do want to briefly touch on some technical issues I encountered during my playthrough. So I played this all entirely on day 1, so yeah, there was obviously going to be the typical server issues. Not only did I have trouble logging in, but enemies could be slightly delayed before losing health or dying. My main issues, however, were multiple progression blockers. In the second mission, I had 2 such issues, where both times I had to go to orbit to fix it. One where a group of enemies didn't spawn, so another enemy stayed shielded, and another where a ship's door didn't open, not letting me start the mission. Also, on the first Europa mission, the mission just never started, which left me walking around Europa with no guide or dialogue for like 20 minutes. I was already reaching my wit's end with these boring missions, and it's not fun having to restart them over and over, or wondering if it's broken or not to begin with. Overall, Renegades is just such a mixed bag for me. While I'm happy that it added on to the endgame a bit, the campaign is what I'm mainly here for, and it just didn't deliver. Like I said earlier, it felt like I was tricked into paying $40 for a season. I mean, it even has a seasonal hub. The mission design and story were just terrible and not up to the standards set by even Edge of Fate. I love Destiny and I've been playing it for over 10 years. But if this is the standard of quality that we're gonna hit, then I don't know if I'm gonna keep playing. I could deal with the shitty campaigns when we got 4 seasons a year and tons of content, but now with essentially 2 seasons a year and no endgame content, I don't know if I can keep putting up with it. Destiny has to figure out what it wants to do for the future. Try and relaunch itself with the Destiny 3, fix itself with a huge new DLC, or keep being in maintenance mode, like it is now. I really hope it isn't the last option, because if it is, I may have to give up this game that has had such a big impact on my life. I do not recommend Destiny 2 Renegades. 5 out of 10. Well, y'all, that's my review of Destiny 2 Renegades. If you watch this far, please make sure to like, comment, or subscribe. I would really appreciate it. That's all I got for the review, but I just want to take a few minutes to talk about me and my channel. So the first thing I want to talk about is how my TikTok views have gone down. I started averaging about 1,000 views per video and now I'm averaging in the 500s. I bring that up because it's what I like so much about posting on TikTok is it gives me that gratification of people actually seeing the stuff I make. So YouTube kind of gives me mental gratification because I really like writing these scripts. I'm actually pretty proud of this script. Maybe not my voiceover, of course. I did mess up a few times, but if it wasn't too bad, I didn't re-record it because this is a long one. But yeah, I don't know, when I'm getting less views and it's still good, but when I'm getting less, I'm worried I'm gonna lose that motivation to keep doing this. So far I'm having a lot of fun with making videos though. As I was home over Thanksgiving, I literally made 5 scripts. Most of them was TikTok stuff, but I think I made 2 YouTube video scripts. But yeah, I really like coming up with ideas for content. I think it's really fun. So I hope that I at least just start seeing some results. I need to keep telling myself that it's honestly, I'm probably even on this channel, probably not even gonna get past 50 subscribers at most, you know. So I just need to come to terms with that, and I'm just worried that might make me lose motivation a bit. So off of that, I am going to be going home soon for Christmas break, so I'll be gone for a month. I'm planning on taking my fursuit home with me, but it's also I might record less because I'll be home and I don't want anyone to see my fursuit. So we'll see what happens with that, but I hope I'm going to be bringing it home because I'm going to make at least 2 videos. My avatar video and then my year-end rank video. But yeah, for future video plans, so I got a ton. I got a ranking all the Lego games that I've played video. That's one of the scripts that is done. And then I have my routine video. So as I'm recording this, routine is coming out tomorrow. So hopefully I should start playing that tomorrow. I do have a bit of a busy day. Depending on if I have enough to say, I will make a video about the FNAF movie. Let's see. Of course, the Avatar DLC video, I'm thinking about making a review of the movie and the DLC in one YouTube video, but we'll see how that goes. Of course, this Lego video, I said end of year ranking video, and then I also want to rank all the Smiling Friends episodes, and then I'm also thinking maybe a 2025 album ranking. I don't know. But for right now, next up should be routine. So yeah, like that's all I have to say for right now. I should probably wrap this up. Once again, like if you appreciate, I would appreciate if you like at least like left a like or something. Like I don't know, I put in a decent amount of effort into this video, so I would really appreciate it. All right, that's all I have to say now. Thank you all. Bye.